Good evening, everybody. This is Brian. I am here, as we are every Wednesday, on Facebook Live with Diane Moxley, our host, right here in the studio with me. We're going to be joined in just a few minutes with comrade Anthony Diaz. I asked him if I should call him Nationwide Anthony Diaz before the program. I don't think he really answered, so I'm just going to stick with Anthony Diaz. From, of course, the Movement of the People, the AMP Slate, and the Newark Water Coalition, as well as Agnes Marsala from People Over Pipelines, who hasn't been around in a couple of months, but has been very, very busy doing some work against pipelines.
Yeah.
So we're going to get to that panel in just a few minutes. If you're just watching right now, can you share this out, link it to your groups, do a little sharing as we get ready to bring you a little bit of news out of Patterson and, of course, Extinction Rebellion. Hi, Diane. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Better. I haven't driven in a week or 3 or 4 days, so my back feels better.
Oh, okay. But not good if you can't drive, but good if you're not hurting. Glad you're not hurting.
Kind of neat. I had a comrade come today to drive me around so I could get to Newark and report on what was going on at City Hall. Okay. So I want to thank her. I'm not sure if she wants me to name her right now, but, of course, we have a lot of comrades that do a lot of favors for each other here in New Jersey, and that was just one small favor. And it helped me get around. It helped me get out to Newark today to watch, what was happening. But I was not able to get up to Patterson tonight with the next city council. The city council meeting was delayed, as it's usually on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. is when they're encouraging people to go and speak to the city council, but they moved it back to Wednesday night this week, so I had conflict with the show, and of course wasn't able to get anybody out there. So, but we do mention Jameek Lowry. We were up to 223 days since that man was killed by the police, and we still don't see an autopsy report. The family is still not getting answers from them. So we are desperately trying to get, some answers out of this government, and we're not getting them. So we will continue to mention this every week. We have said it. We're going to do it unless the family asks us to stop, and I don't think the family's in a mood to stop and take no for an answer. So we're just going to continue to support them. I don't know if you've heard anything out of Patterson recently, but
nothing new. Nothing new, and the family needs and deserves answers. So yes, we'll keep talking about it until there is justice and answers.
Justice for Jameek Lowry on Facebook is where you can go find that information, and we encourage you, of course, to share that out where you can.
Absolutely.
Also, our panel tonight is going to be about Extinction Rebellion kind of work. We're going to talk about environmentalist work around the state. But we want to give some direct support and direct plugs to Extinction Rebellion because, Diane, you've been involved since the very beginning here in New York City, and as you told us over the last couple of weeks, is starting to bleed over international waters.
Yes,
the Hudson. They're bringing Extinction Rebellion a little bit south to New Jersey.
How's that going? Fine country of New Jersey. Yeah. Yes, and we have had some meetings since in the past few months, but our reach is growing, our interest is growing, and we have a meeting scheduled this Sunday, August 11th, from 6 to 8 p.m. It is at the Unitarian Church in East Brunswick, which is 176 Tices Lane, Tices Lane in East Brunswick. There is a Facebook event page. So if you go to the Extinction Rebellion New Jersey page, you'll see the general meeting. Everyone is welcome. I expect a nice large turnout, and we will have an exciting announcement at that meeting about our first big action in New Jersey. So we are very, very, very excited. So please come out. And I just got a message that I'm being asked to also promote, of course, our Green Party of New Jersey state meeting Sunday from 1 to 5.
No promotions unless they share out this link on their pages.
They will.
No, they will? Are they listening right now? Green
I-
Party people that want these plugs?
Okay, person who asked me for the
Person
plug.
who asked the plugs from the Green
Are
Party.
you sharing this everywhere?
You'll hear, listen, here's
Okay.
the wheelings and dealings of the political machines here in New Jersey right now.
Okay, but there's other good things going on in the meeting besides just Green Party, even though it is the Green Party of New Jersey state meeting in Paterson. If this person can send me the address quickly, that would be useful, but I'll give everyone some information. There's going to be a very informative Know Your Rights training that's going to be conducted by the great Immigrants' Rights Org, Wind of the Spirit, and it's going to be information in English and in Spanish. And I believe it is to assist our immigrant communities. So that's very, very useful. So if you go to the Green Party of New Jersey Facebook page, you'll find more information about that meeting. So everyone's welcome because of that great, I believe it's a 2-hour Know Your Rights training that we all need to know. So that when we see something bad going on, I just heard some kind of roundup somewhere in a work site. So everybody needs to know how we can protect our local immigrant communities. And that portion of the meeting will be 3 to 5 on Sunday. And then you're going to go right from that meeting to East Brunswick to the Extinction Rebellion meeting. Okay,
right.
So
we have to plug stuff as we've
been
doing because we're busy. We do have to do a quick commercial for a very, very good cause, though.
Okay.
So, as many of you may know, we're involved with One People's Project. One People's Project is proudly Antifa. We are anti-fascist, and we work to expose Nazis. We work to expose fascists right here in New Jersey, as we've been talking about over the last couple of weeks. Dan D'Ambly and Ron Sheehy running around New Jersey telling people that they should be in the white power movement. And we have successfully headed them off at the pass repeatedly. And it's thanks to the work that One People's Project does. So what we would like you to know is that if you're in the Philly area on September 21st, we're going to have a fundraiser for One People's Project in a small place, Wooden Shoe Books and Records. Now, this is on our event page at Facebook. There's only about 30 seats available, and they're free. You don't have to chip in. There's a request for a donation. If you can give a few dollars, if you can give a lot of dollars, all goes to a good cause, and it's a 501c charity. So we hope to see supporters of Antifa and Daryl Lamont Jenkins, who starred in the documentary Alt-Right Age of Rage and is a producer on the recent movie Skin, which is coming out July 26th. It's been premiering around the country. It's based on a true story. Daryl himself is played in it. So we're really excited to be working with him at New Jersey Revolution Radio. And again, one more time, Wooden Shoe Books and Records, September 21st. That's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Get your tickets. Go to our Facebook page. Click on the event. Click on the free Eventbrite tab to get your free spot reserved. And kick in $2 if you can. There you go. Oh, that was
Great.
a terrible fade. I can do better than that. I'm going to fix that later.
Okay.
I'm
Not
trying to
bad,
get better.
not
I'm
bad.
trying to get better at the technical stuff over here.
Not bad.
All right. I'm going to let you have your panel there, Diane. Good luck. We'll be back in a few minutes with some
And
clips.
Yes, you have a clip, but we'll do
do.
our
Do you want-
intros
yeah.
right now. We're so happy this evening to have with us Anthony Diaz, who is with the Newark Water Coalition and a Movement of the People. We have also with us this evening Agnes Marsala. She is the president of People Over Pipelines out of Chesterfield, New Jersey. So big thank you to our guests, because I know these guys are all over the place trying to save the planet, save the water, save the world. So thank you guys so much for all that you do every day. And I know you guys were busy today. And I believe Brian has a clip from the event that was called Pack the Council Chambers. And this was, and Anthony will give us more information, but this was about packing a council chambers meeting in which there was a city council ordinance that was going to be voted on that was to remove the public advertising requirement of all executive orders of the mayor. So you have some clips.
Yes,
to
and
show?
this is going to be Tanisha Garner, a comrade of Anthony's in the a movement for People the Amp slate, speaking as a Newark resident earlier today at City Hall, telling us a little bit about why they were there.
Rocker executive orders would not have been published in the newspaper if City Council passes it today. So the reason why we wanted the people to come out to know and voice their opinion is about transparency. And one of the quotes that's actually from Councilman Gonzalez, he stated that transparency calls for publication of everything that we do, Gonzalez said. I believe we are going against the grain by allowing executive orders not to be published before or after they're signed by the mayor. I believe we should err in the era of the side of publishing everything and not withholding information for the public. So if our own council member says that, why can't the rest of the council say the whole thing? So today I pray to God that they do not pass it and we do keep transparency, because transparency is very important.
So there you go. That was earlier today, just before the city council meeting, and I think that our comrade Anthony can tell us what happened during the city council meeting.
Yeah. So Anthony, what happened today?
So what's interesting is 15 minutes right into the city council meeting, they decided to table the ordinance to the next council meeting because they said they wanted to change it, not to just get rid of all publishing, but to make it mandatory to publish on the city's website, which is better, but it's still actually, you know what? I think it's still a better option than not having it published at all. And I think it was definitely due to the pressure of not only the emails and phone calls, but having the Facebook event showing them that the residents aren't just going to stand by and let them change this without any kind of pushback.
And so the public advertising requirement, was that for, I see it's about executive orders, but did that also have to do with publishing when meetings were going to occur, or was it just
No, so the meeting occurring that falls under the Sunshine Act,
Okay.
but the problem is the city of Newark doesn't even do a good job about publishing its meetings.
Okay.
So the executive order was specifically for salaries, departmental head changes, and I think there was a third thing that I'm missing. But so due to my speculation is that recently they just gave themselves all raises, and there was a lot of pushback from the city. So I think that was one of the efforts in doing this. Not disclosing your salaries and not disclosing raises and not putting it out there for the public to see is one of the reasons why, or was the catalyst for this policy change. And this ordinance has been in effect since 1986. So it's like, as long as I've been around, so
Wow.
33 years.
Wow.
So it's like, why are you changing it now?
Yeah. Yeah. And we need more information right now, not less. And I could see this somewhat linking to the good work you do with the Newark Water Coalition, because you have a right to know where is the money going. We know it's not going to remediate the water crisis in Newark. So maybe they're feeling a little pressure with things like that, right?
Yeah, they definitely are. Just because what we're seeing is, he just won his second term, so we're seeing a lot of the bad policies that he's had are starting to take effect now. Whether it's the recent drug sting at the recreation center, the water crisis, this executive order, the stream of like campaign finances that are awry, things in his personal life. So he's getting attacked from all sides. And so now a lot of he's been given a lot of rope during his first term, and there wasn't a lot of pushback because people gave him the benefit of the doubt. You know, the great son of Miri Baraka and this progressive black mayor. But now we see that he's part of the Democratic Party machine. He fell right in line with, doing these really sketchy policies and having this lack of transparency. So when you do this executive order, um, again, it's like a smoke and mirrors trick. It's like, we're not going to give you all the information. We're not going to give you all the pieces of the puzzle because we're doing things that aren't morally right or morally sound. But again, because he's a Democrat, because he's an African American mayor, people give him the benefit of the doubt. And it's organizations like the Newark Water Coalition who are presenting facts across the community that people are starting to see the chinks in the armor, and they're starting to realize that, everything that he's saying is not correct or not factual.
Yeah, and the if it wasn't for Newark Water Coalition, a movement of the people, did you have other organizations that were coming to pack this council chambers, or was it
Yes, because there
other
were
groups?
there
Yeah.
were three big ordinances that were up.
Okay.
One is the Colonnade Security Ordinance, which required more landlords to have more security. So you had residents for that. The city is trying to change the rent control ordinance. There's some good things that they want to implement, but again, we put a kind of a moratorium on changing the rent control ordinance for 3 years. So you had a Homes for All Newark was there for that, and then you had the the mayor's executive ordinance. So you had residents for there. So there were definitely different organizations. I know like ICC put out some information for it, the tenant association from the colonnades and the pavilion. But the thing that was great is that you had these groups of people that were there for multiple reasons. So it's not like just, there for one fight. And that's kind of what I've really been trying to push in this community in Newark, is that all struggles are interconnected and that we all need to be fighting, each of these things. And it's not just a single issue campaign that people like to wage, just because all these struggles are really interconnected.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know a movement of the people does work with rent control ordinances. A
Yeah.
lot of you are also on the Newark Water Coalition. So we need to all work together because, as you said, all these issues are united. What's going on right now about with the Newark Water Coalition, and give our audience an update. I know you've been on NJRR before, but so for people who haven't heard you on our show, if you could give our audience a little bit of information where, and let's even step back and talk about what's going on with water in Newark to give to our
Okay,
viewers.
so just to give you like a baseline,
Hmm.
our last lead results had us at 57 parts per billion. The federal standard is 15 parts per billion. To
Hmm.
put that in perspective, Flint's lead levels were 24 parts or 21 parts per billion at the height of their crisis. So we're already double the levels of Flint.
Mm.
Our lead levels have exceeded the federal limit for 2.5 years. The city administration is saying that everything is fine with the water. There's no problems with it. It's not as widespread as it is. So, just doing the research, this affects about 10% of the population of Newark, or a little bit over 10%, so about 40,000 residents.
Mm.
And the Newark Water Coalition is a group that I co founded with activists throughout the city to really explain to the residents, no, this is a serious problem, that it's not all good. It's not what the city is saying. This is widespread, and we need to get, infrastructure uh, funding and get these lead lines replaced. And we need to make sure that our children are protected and that they test for their lead levels. And if they come back positive, that there is a solution and there is treatment going forward. So we do a lot of teach-ins. We're trying to do, more direct actions. Just, we've given out water filters. We've worked with the NRDC, almost like a partnership, only because a lot of the members who who are involved in that lawsuit, just work hand in hand with us, and so we're trying to really build up the knowledge in Newark for everything that's happening. And what we see is that people still don't know, and that to me is the biggest frustration. You still have people that are trying to boil their water. You have people that are being denied water filters. You have people who have applied for the lead replacement program and not getting it. So it's like everything that the city is saying, there's so much evidence to refute it, and that's my biggest problem, and that's why we exist, because the narrative that it's all good, it's all fine, is not true. And this is the same thing that happens again disproportionately in brown and black communities.
Hmm.
And this time it's happening from a progressive black Democratic mayor.
So let me ask you, what has the city done to remedy this really significant lead in the water
So,
problem?
so the three things that they say they're doing is, one is they have said that they've given out close to 40,000 water filters. Again, we scrutinize that number just because we have members in the Water Coalition who have been put down saying they've gotten 3 or 4 filters and they've never received a filter, or they've only received one. Then there's the lead replacement program that they're doing for our homeowners. It's about 15,000 lead lines that they're going to replace over 8 years.
Mm.
However, they're charging the residents up to $1,000, and the residents can pay this over time and things like that. But what about the residents who they say don't qualify? There's a lack of transparency around this program. And three, in Flint, Michigan, the NRDC sued and won and got this program instituted for free. And the
Mm.
program is only going to they're going to replace 16,000 lines over the course of 3 years, not 8 years. And then they're
Mm.
also saying that they've launched a robust educational campaign, which is not true. A lot of the information that they put out is very misleading,
Mhm.
and it just doesn't contain all the facts. And again, if you do a simple Google research, if you look at the DEP's website, you can find the information out for yourself. And it's not just lead that's in the water. There's plenty of carcinogens that have been found over, earlier this, I would say the end of spring, early summer. There was a case of Legionnaire's disease found in a water supply of a senior citizen building. So there's a lot of issues here, and the city is being really disingenuous about it. Instead of owning up to this, they really like to play again these games of misinformation. And they've hired this marketing firm which has released tons of videos, of PR videos of, again, saying everything is fine. It has like a video of your like typical nuclear black family, and like, they're having like a good time. And it's absolutely absurd.
Mm. And drinking water, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're drinking water and saying yes.
Everything's
Tasty.
fine. Wow.
Exactly.
And then I'd even be concerned that you have some really frightening figures, but I'm wondering if we probably want to have some more money put into finding out what's going on, finding out exactly how widespread this is. As you mentioned, there are some concerns about transparency. So I would be concerned that, can you look at, are they, how far have they delved to really find out the reach of this problem?
I don't think they've found, I don't think they've dug really deep at all, because the digger that you deep, the more problems you're going to find. And that's one of the things that's is really interesting, is that this problem is not just limited to Newark. It's really all over the state. Just in one of the recent reports I looked at, some of the top, I think I want to say it was maybe 3 or 4 top of the lead exceeded level towns are in New Jersey.
Mm.
So there's like a real effort to really downplay this issue, because if you look everywhere and you see all these fires and all these towns and the water supply,
Mm-hmm.
the city doesn't have the power or to really fix it all. You're talking about like a statewide overhaul of our entire water systems, and this is like billions of dollars. This is something that it would take federal intervention.
Mm.
So
Well,
rather
are
than
they?
kind of like,
Yeah.
they don't want to. What they're doing is putting a band-aid on a knife wound, and then they're hoping that you're satisfied with that band-aid.
And it sounds like this is a nationally widespread problem. So our local and state government officials might have to take this to the federal government and ask for assistance, because it sounds like it's not just New Jersey. It sounds like it's a national problem. And in areas like New Jersey, when you look at when these houses and pipes were initially laid out, it just makes sense that over time, depending on what they were using, things corrode and have to be looked at. So I don't think this is something that they should have been blindsided with. I think it might be a little bit of willful ignorance.
Oh, definitely. And especially since you have Cory Booker's presidential campaign, like this should be definitely a hot button topic. And then you have Senator Menendez, which is one of the most, powerful Democratic senators in this country. We met with Congressman Payne, and he said he was going to send a scathing letter to Ras Baraka. And we just a few weeks ago we released a response that he's never answered our calls again, never sent the letter. So again, it's like you try to do the right thing, you try to go the route of your elected officials, and it falls on deaf ears. And then when you start becoming, dare I say, more militant in your actions, people are like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And it's like, no, this is what happens when you don't do the right thing. This is what to me, it just comes down to a moral issue. And every day you wake up and you see the world is just getting worse and worse and worse. And it's like, this is water. Why? Like, why?
Yeah, water is life. And it's, we have to hold our elected officials accountable. They work for the people. So if we have to demand change, that's what we do as activists.
Yes.
And I understand Brian has our clip from the other big action today.
We have to bring in Agnes. We have to bring a little South Jersey love here. So let's play a little clip.
South to Central,
protesting the SRL pipeline in New Egypt today with the Empower New Jersey Coalition. And here's a clip from one of the speakers. Agnes may be able to tell me who this is. I couldn't grab a name, but here is.
Because as we all know, a renewable energy infrastructure will create sustainable jobs, long-term jobs, high-paying jobs in New Jersey communities. We are also here in solidarity with the people of Pennsylvania who are suffering from the process of radioactive.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see them, so.
Near the hydraulic fracturing wells. This is ethically and morally unconscionable that they have created cancer clusters in Pennsylvania through the hydraulic fracturing process. Over 100 organizations and 80 individuals have signed on to a letter to Governor Tom Wolf asking them to stop it right now.
All right, so that was from the protest, and now we should be able to hear our comrade Agnes Marsala on the line. Agnes, can you hear us?
Yeah, hi. I couldn't see who was speaking, so it's hard to tell.
She's coming through loud and clear now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and we introduced Agnes earlier. Agnes is president of People Over Pipelines, correct?
That's right. Yes.
And when did People Over Pipelines start? How long ago were they founded?
Probably about 2015.
Okay.
When we got word that a compressor station was going up in our town, Chesterfield, to connect this fracked gas from the Marcellus Shale area to our area. And it's unneeded gas. I have a couple of dates that I want you guys to save.
Okay.
16th of September, we're going to have a march from Bordentown Township to Trenton to the annex. And big, we're going to try and get some press out there to highlight this situation. I don't know if you guys know that the governor has released this draft energy master plan, the EMP, which is being commented on publicly in this month and next month. And so we're going to coincide this with the last day of public comments.
Okay, that's what
Which is
September
16th.
16th is, the last day of public comments on the
EMP.
Energy Master Plan.
Right.
Have you reviewed the Energy Master Plan?
I have looked it over, and if anyone would like to look it over, you could go to nj.gov /EMP.
Okay.
And if you'd like to comment, you could go to emp.comments@bpu.nj.gov. I don't know
Okay.
why it's two separate things.
So I have a
but-
feeling, since you guys were out there today and you're doing this march from Bordentown to Trenton, I'm assuming this master plan is not that much of a
Yeah,
master
it doesn't
plan.
really
So
address
what is it
fossil
missing?
fuels at all. I mean,
Yeah.
the governor is billing himself as, the greenest governor in the land,
Mm-hmm.
and he wants to get to, zero emissions or zero carbon emissions by 2050. And it doesn't even
2050,
address
we'll be
fossil
on-
fuels at all.
Yeah,
Pipelines or.
we'll be on
you know,
fire by
methane
2050
power
if we're waiting till 2050, right?
Yeah.
So
We
you're
need to
saying-
get working on this.
Yeah.
And-
So he
and the
didn't even
EMP
address
is-
pipelines at all in the master plan.
No, it doesn't mention, there's one brief mention of methane, but there is no talk of, cutting back on methane or natural gas. And we're calling for the governor to declare a moratorium. The reason that we're focusing on the SRL right now
Mm-hmm.
is because construction has started in Ocean County, even though it's still in the courts. They have permits, but those permits are being challenged by the Sierra Club, the Pinelands Preservation Alliance, and actually Bordentown Township.
Mm.
So recently, Chesterfield Township and North Hanover Township, as well as the Burlington County freeholders.
And I'm sorry, one moment, Agnes. I was going to say our goodbyes to Anthony, but he did have to log off because Anthony is a very, very busy man, and he had another live stream lined up. So thank you, Anthony, and I know we'll see you in the streets. So sorry about that, Agnes.
That's
we'll
okay. I mean,
continue.
I feel
Yeah.
for Anthony going and trying to do the right thing
Yeah.
through the right channels,
Yeah.
because recently we've had these setbacks with our freeholders.
Mm.
We thought we'd thrown out the Republican freeholders, and the first time in like 60 years,
Mm-hmm.
we're now Democrat majority freeholders in Burlington County. And, we've also elected, we threw out MacArthur in the Congress and elected a Democrat as part of the Blue Wave.
Yeah.
Still have no real help from our elected officials. The freeholders just recently they gave the road opening permits to New Jersey Natural Gas.
And what county freeholders were those?
Burlington County.
And so you're saying there were some newly elected Democrats that replaced Republicans.
Yes.
And
we thought they would help us. They ran on those promises.
Wow. I
Now
wanted to
they are kind of
ask you,
reneging on those.
because we were talking about the governor's energy master plan. Now, I thought when Governor Murphy was running, he had some promises about halting fossil fuel infrastructure like
Yeah.
pipelines. And
He did.
what was his campaign promise while he was running?
Well, specifically, he had the endorsement of the New Jersey Sierra Club. And, they're very big on stopping all fossil fuel, the new infrastructure going up. And he gave lip service to that, he was for, stopping the pipelines coming into New Jersey.
But they haven't been stopped.
No, they have not. And he has the power to do that. He bills himself as this environmentalist, but
But he's not doing it. He's not
He's not.
acting.
he's doing a lot of half measures and photo ops, even the wind, offshore wind stuff could be, really ramped up.
Hmm.
And, we feel that there are so many more green jobs, in green energy than there are in fossil fuels in this state and all over the country. I mean, that's one of the things that the fossil fuel industry always brings out a lot of union members,
For the
and we're
pipeline
pro union,
unions, yeah, the
but
mhm.
we were at that construction site today, and we asked the guys running the HDD drill, "Where are you from?" And they said California.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's not
So
local jobs. You're not helping New Jersey jobs.
mm,
And
no,
if
no.
we had a real energy master plan that laid out a renewable energy infrastructure, I think that could be more likely to, train workers in these new technologies, invest in new technologies, and have the jobs actually come from New Jersey instead of,
Right. They're trying to
yeah.
redefine
Hmm.
natural gas as clean energy, and you know it's methane. There's nothing natural about it. The way they take it out of the ground, destroys the land, destroys the earth,
Mm.
and catches water on fire. And
Yeah,
then
what's going on in Pennsylvania? And the
exactly,
young
and
woman who was just
because they have
speaking.
so much of it, we get so much of our energy from natural gas. We don't need any more.
Yeah.
We have a glut of it,
And
but
a
we
lot of
stand between Pennsylvania and
ports.
exporting it
Ports.
to New
Yeah.
York or overseas. One thing about Tom MacArthur, he told us the truth that that gas was for export to Western Europe, and Eastern Europe and Asia, and that's what's going to be happening
And
because
and
they
the, and
really
this
want to
is
sell it.
and this is in regards to the SRL pipeline, which is what you are working on trying to stop. We understand
All these
permits are
pipelines are
out there
transmission
for
pipelines.
now they haven't started the construction, but you're just assuming the
Oh, oh,
construction is
yes, they
going to
have.
start. Oh, they have. Have they laid
Yes.
pipes yet?
They've laid pipes from Manchester in
Mm-hmm.
Ocean County
Okay.
all the way to New Egypt.
Okay.
They just got the Burlington County was the only one holding the line.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's now that Burlington County, once that starts, the project can finish, and
So
then
even though they're in court,
yeah.
the modus operandi of the fossil fuel industry is
Mm.
build it, even though we're in court. Say to the judge at the end of the case, okay, you might have a point, but we have a pipeline. Put all
Yeah.
this money
That's
into it.
intentional.
Are you going to just let it go to waste?
It's
They put the
already
compressor
here,
station
right?
in, even though that
Mm.
is still in the courts.
Mm.
And they're going to say at the end of that, we spent millions of dollars on this compressor station. What are we supposed to do with it?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
and the judge usually says, well, okay, go ahead. It works for them.
Yeah.
That's why they
Yeah.
do it.
No, they're definitely led by, the business angle, the money angle. It's already here. Let us use it. And yeah, those permits just shouldn't have been entered
There
if
should,
this was in litigation. They
there
just
should
shouldn't
be a
have been
stay.
issued. Yeah.
There should be a stay, yes.
And I wanted to ask you, so the Burlington County area of the SRL pipeline, um, what type of lands is this pipeline going to be going through? What type of risks will we have?
Well, the reason they do the HDD,
Mm-hmm.
the horizontal directional drilling, where they bore at an angle under the ground and then push the pipe in without trenching, they do that because to get around the wetlands permits, the sensitive areas, sensitive ecosystems, then the pinelands, things like that. So, I, you know, I don't think that it's really been shown that these kind of directional drilling really save ecosystems. They're detrimental to the ecosystems. And there are many places from here, from Chesterfield to New Egypt, where they're going to be HDD drilling.
And that is because the land that it's going to go through is
Wetlands and other
pristine,
protected ecosystems.
sensitive. And now let me ask you,
farmlands.
though, even
There's
with that,
farmlands, wetlands, um, open space area, protected, that New Jerseyans have voted again and again to protect these lands, and they're just going to go right through them. It comes as close as 27 feet from the front of one man's door. One, I mean,
wow.
Christie rolled back the protections. You're supposed to not be able to lay a pipeline within 100 feet of a business or a property, of someone's front
A
door.
home, somebody's front
But
door.
Christie's DEP was able to roll back those safety precautions. Now,
27 feet.
this
Wow.
pipeline in Kentucky
Yeah.
that just blew up,
Yeah. Yeah.
people got hurt, and they were over 100 feet from, one person died. They were over 100 feet from this pipeline. Same exact diameter pipeline,
Wow.
30 inches.
So 20.
We're going to be within 100 feet, some as close as 27 feet from this pipeline. And it doesn't stop. It doesn't bring gas to any community in New Jersey.
So it's being the residents are taking a huge risk.
All the risk.
And no benefit.
No benefit.
No benefit whatsoever. It's being exported, and that
That's right.
info is out there. It's pretty much undeniable.
Right.
So let me ask you, what are next steps? Because this this sounds like urgent. That
It
something
is.
has to be done stat. And I even just want to step back a moment, because I know you guys, you have a coalition of groups, of many environmental groups who are working together, and that's wonderful. And I know that you have some, people have been doing this work for decades. So I'm assuming somebody has cornered and confronted Governor Murphy about the SRL pipeline.
Well, yeah,
What
we
is
do
his
work.
response?
The group is
Bird
called
dogging? Yeah.
yeah,
Have you?
the group is called Empower New Jersey,
Yes.
which is a coalition of, like you said, many environmental groups and small grassroots groups like mine, religious faith-based groups.
Yes.
A lot of the Sierra Club, the UU.
Yeah. Good people. Yep.
And we do bird dog the governor here, when we can.
Okay.
The problem is he's actually starting to change his schedule at the last minute when he thinks we're going to be there. Yeah. It's hard to pin him down. He's never at home. He just got back from Italy.
Wow. So I guess we're going to have to send a contingent off to Italy and trail him on his vacations next time.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. He really thinks he's this. He goes over to Europe and, he tries to get praise for being this environmentalist. And that's one of the things we're trying to do, is shame him and call him out on his hypocrisy,
Yeah.
So the protest, the march, the rally on the 16th.
Yeah. So that's the big thing we're going to be planning for is September 16th. The
16th,
march
right.
from Bordentown to Trenton. Are there
Right.
any
Keep
things
your eyes open for those details.
Because, if this construction gets really going in Burlington, as we had Anthony on before, we're talking about direct action, taking perhaps more extreme measures. I'm wondering if something like that might need to be done.
It's hard to find, it's hard to find people that are willing to chain themselves to construction equipment and things like that. I'm a little handicapped, so I can't do it. But we did have a meeting afterwards to try and plan, and that's what we're doing, planning this march.
Okay, good.
And
good.
who knows what else might come out of that. So
Yeah. Well, I thank you for all the work that you are doing and have been doing, and we're definitely going to follow up on this. I definitely really want to be out there on September 16th.
Great.
And we'll try to, keep aware of, or hopefully you'll have some.
Well, I'll be posting
folks
on the People Over Pipelines Facebook page, and we'll be sharing it with you guys.
Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming back on the show, Agnes, and I'll see you at an action, I'm sure. How far are you from East Windsor for our Sunday evening meeting with Extinction Rebellion?
Not far at all. Probably about 35 minutes from East Windsor.
So maybe you could try to come by on Sunday evening.
Okay.
Okay, great. Have a
Thanks.
good night. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, take care.
All right, that was a great show. We had some great viewers. I appreciate everybody that hung around to the end. You can share this out, share this in your groups, let people know about New Jersey Revolution Radio wherever you can. We didn't get to everything. I'm telling you right now, we didn't get to everything. But as soon as I post this, the podcast goes out. It goes out on iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify and anywhere you get your podcasts. It'll also go up on our website, and I will have some links up there to comments from Newark residents, including Deborah Salters, who said some inspirational stuff. And if you can't wait for the quality audio, you can go to the live stream and see me there today. And also, of course, we had a few minutes to spend with Chairman Zulu from the New African Black Panther Party, talking about what went on in Newark today, as well as his work feeding people and in some upcoming events in Newark. So please, if you can't wait, go check out the Facebook live stream. We'll be putting out final productions over the next couple days. I also wanted to comment on a Vox article on how there's a new video going around that the police are saying that there's blue racism and that they are tired of being discriminated against. So I just want to take this opportunity to remind our audience here at New Jersey Revolution Radio that the police can quit their jobs.
And thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week, and I'll see you in the streets.